Hello everyone. So today we will be seeing how we can perform daily to daily activities on an Amazon Oracle RDS, and this will be very much needed for those who are working with as a DBA in Oracle. Others can also, if you are interested, you can watch this video. So what all things will be covered in this? So what is RDS? What is Oracle RDS basically? Because I have already covered Oracle, what is RDS in my previous videos. If you want, you can check from the playlist, or if you want, you can check from my channel. The daily main things which will be covered in here are the daily operations on Oracle RDS. Means how to generate an AWR report, how to generate ADDM report, how to give grant privileges, and making table spaces, creating table spaces, and other things. And if time permits, if the video doesn't go long, then we'll be also covering ARM and tasks using Oracle RDS, along with how to integrate S3 with Oracle RDS. So how does RDS work? To deliver a managed service experience, Amazon RDS does not provide shell access to DB instances and restricts access to certain system procedures and tables that require advanced privileges. So as I said in my previous videos, that in Amazon RDS, you do not get access to the host. You only get an endpoint from where you can connect to the database directly, but you do not have any access to the host level. Due to this, there are many system privileges, many tables where you do not have access. But being a DBA, you need access to perform those operations. So for that, we have an user named RDS admin. So RDS admin is a user which has many stored procedures inbuilt, which you need to run to take care of most of the daily operations. So before we proceed further, let us first log into our AWS Management Console and build in an Oracle RDS. So here we are in our Management Console. Let us go to RDS. This is under database. And we need to create a database. I have already one of the database instances created, but I will create one more. Let us go ahead with standard create. Let us proceed with Oracle Enterprise Edition. Let me take Oracle 12.2.01 with the latest patch installed. Since this is just a test version, means just to show you, I'm going ahead with dev or test. Do remember that this is not at all free. Oracle RDS is not at all free, and it costs you around 35 to 37 USD. Let me give the name as DB instance identifier name as infra. User also I'm giving the same name as infra. Password also I need to give a bit more because it takes minimum 8 characters. Let me take this as burstable classes. Let me allocate storage of 20 GB, which will automatically increase if we enable storage auto scaling, and the maximum storage threshold is 1000 GB. I'm not creating a multi-AZ deployment, so do not create a standby database. I'm taking this in my default VPC. Publicly accessible, yes, or else you won't be able to access the database. VPC security group, choose existing. This is the default. No preference. Database port, let me give it as 1521 itself, the default one. In additional configuration, let me give the initial database name as infra again. Character set and all, let it be same. Enable automatic backups. You need to remember, if you disable the automatic backups, then your archive log will also be disabled. So if you want to enable your archive logs, you need to first enable automatic backups too and restart your database so that archive logs can be enabled. Enable enhanced monitoring. I do not need it actually. Let me take this. Audit log is also not needed, still I am taking it. IAM role and all those will be checking further once we go ahead with our integration with S3. Maintenance, no need. Maintenance window also no need. If you want, you can enable delete protection. This is needed for your, if you are working in a project that time, but since I am not, this is just for test demo purpose, I am not enabling this enable delete protection. So means by accidentally, if you try to delete the database, it won't be deleting if this one is clicked. You need to first remove it by modifying the database, then only you can delete the database. So as I said earlier, it takes around 35 to 37 USD. So the total is around 38.39 US dollars. And let me create the database. So this will take some time for the database to get created. So I'll just pause the video until this gets created. One more thing you need to note is that you need to take care of your master user password, because this is the only time you will get to see what you have kept the password, or else you need to change the password later on. From here, if you click on the view credential details, you can get it. Password for your database infra. This is the only time you will be able to view this password. Copy and save the password for your reference. Otherwise, you will need to modify the database to change it. So the master username is this, and my password I have kept as this, and it is still creating. I'll pause it. So currently we have our database created and the status says as available. So how do we log into our database? From here you can see, before logging, let us go ahead with each and every tab. You can see this is the endpoint which is required to log into the database. I'll just copy it to my clipboard, and you can see the port name as 1521. It is in the availability zone AP South 1C, which is in Mumbai, and it is taking the default security group. VPC is this. This is publicly accessible. It's yes. If it was no, then we couldn't have accessed it, and we had to modify it to go ahead. These are the security groups which is in which it is in. There are no IAM rules right now. Monitoring, you can check it from here. The CPU utilization, the DB connections currently, since there are no DB connections, the free storage, freeable memory and all, everything you can see in from here. From the logs and events, you can see if CloudWatch monitoring is alarms have been set, then you can see it from here. I haven't set it. The recent events, you can see the DB instance created, performance instance insights have been enabled. Monitoring interval changed to 0, backing up DB instance. And from here you can see all our alert logs, trace files, audit logs and all from here. You can see most of them are alert logs, most of them are audit logs. See, you can see the trace logs in here. Likewise, if you go ahead, if you scroll, you can see the alert log also, or you can type it in here, alert. See, you can get the alert log also from here. From the configuration, you can see the DB instance ID as infra, instance class as db.t3 small, encryption is enabled, engine version is 12201. It is running on vCPU, virtual CPUs. RAM is taken as 2 GB. Database name is infra. Master username as infra. Password won't be shown in here. The parameter group it is taking this. Maintenance and backups. Auto minor version upgrade is disabled. Automated backups have been enabled for my database, and this is a tag. So let me log into the database. How do I log into the database? You need to have SQL developer to log into the database, or from some other database you can log in through giving the details. So I will just go ahead with my SQL developer. So here I am in my SQL developer. Let me create a connection. Username was infra and the password was infra123. The host name I need to give this, and my SID will be, I believe my SID is infra itself. And let me test it. So text is successful. So let me connect to the database. So we have connected to the database, and let's go ahead with each and every query to check our database. How we can perform our daily operations. As I told earlier, the RDS admin has some stored procedures, inbuilt, which helps you perform daily to daily operations. So in here, while disconnecting a session, we used to give alter system kill session like that. But in here we need to provide, we need to execute this script where begin RDS admin underscore util dot disconnect, which is the procedure, and we need to provide the SID and the serial number to disconnect the session. And to kill the session, it is RDS admin underscore util dot kill. To cancel a SQL statement, that same likewise, RDS admin underscore util dot cancel, and the SID, serial number, and the SQL ID needs to be mentioned. And how do we enable and disable restricted sessions? Let us perform this. So let us first see what is the current condition. So right now our logins are allowed. We need to restrict the same. So how do we restrict the same? Execute RDS admin dot the procedure name RDS and admin underscore util dot restricted sessions, and we need to enable needs to be true. So I'll just copy it and run the command. So this is done. So let me check now what is the output. So this has changed to restricted. So now if I put false in here and execute the PL/SQL query, the login should change to allowed. So next, how do you flush the shared pool in non-RDS? Means in your on-premise databases, you need to type the command alter system flushed shared pool, flush shared pool. But in here we need to run execute RDS admin dot the procedure RDS admin underscore util dot flush shared pool to flush your shared pool. So this completed successfully. My share pool is flushed. Similarly, for my buffer cache, you need to execute this query to flush your buffer cache. Next, how do you grant select privileges from to sys objects? The following example grants select privileges on an object named v$session to the user named user1. So for this you need to create a user. The user command is same as you give in your on-premise databases. Create user, username identified by password. So after which you need to give the object name in here v underscore dollar session, and the grantee is user1. The privilege since this is select privilege you are providing, the privilege you need to provide in here. Similarly, the following example grants select privileges on v to a user with grant option. So here grant option we are giving as true, and likewise for revoking, here we are using grant underscore sys. Here we are using revoke underscore sys underscore object, and revokee should be user1, which is from where the select privilege needs to be revoked from v underscore dollar session object. And the granting privileges to non-mastered users, you can grant with this. Creating of non-mastered users is the same process as in non-RDS Oracle. So let me create one user first. Create user, user1 identified by user123 and execute it. So my user got created. So after which I need to give this privilege to my user1. So this privilege has been given, and along with this, let me give the privilege with grant option if you want. I am not giving, we could have given in the initial step itself, and right now I am removing the privilege, select privilege from here. So the select privilege is removed. Similarly, for create function, verify function procedure, this can be created, and this is supported for Oracle versions from 11.204 till 19. Till 19c it is supported, and you can create function, verify function with this, where the function name is given as custom password function. The minimum, so what all things it will be checking, the minimum length of the password would be 12. The uppercase, 2 uppercases needs to be provided, 2 digits needs to be provided, and minimum special character should be 1. Next, let us check how do we change the global data name of the database. First of all, let me check what is the global name of the database, current global name of the database. It is infra. And let me change it. In non-RDS, we need to change with this command alter database rename global name to database.domain. But in here, in Oracle RDS, we need to provide, we need to execute this script RDS admin underscore util dot rename global name, and we need to give the global name in here. And let us execute this query. So this is executed. Let us see what is the global name right now. See, and the global name changed to is right now it is infra experts. But I will keep it as default what it was earlier itself. So I changed the global name again, reverted it back. How do we create a table space? In Amazon, by default, it creates a big file table space with Oracle managed files. So if I create this, the create table space users, if I create this table space, this will take some time to create. So this got created. And if you check in here, it is created in big file. But if you want to create in a small file table space, you need to add create small file. This is totally opposite to normal RDS. Create small file table space users 3 data file, size 1 GB and auto extend to on max size 10 GB. I will create this. And run this command. You can see in here the big file, it is new. So it created a small file table space, but you need to keep in mind you cannot resize a small file data file. Small file tables, the data file of a small file table space. You can add a new data file to it, but you cannot resize it. So you need to be sure how much you are adding space to it. So as you can see in here, don't use small file table spaces because you cannot resize small file table spaces with Amazon RDS for Oracle. However, you can add a data file. So let me give this command and add a data file to it. This is creating a data file to it, to a small file table space. With auto extend on next 250 MB and max size is unlimited for this. So you can see in here table space users 3 has been altered. So it has created the data file in it. To change the default table space name in non-RDS, we used to fire the command alter user name you are given in here, default table space name. So, but in here, let me create one of the users first. Create username identified by user 123. I believe this is not created, we didn't create it earlier. So this was already created. Let me check. select username from describe DBA underscore users. So select username comma default table space from DBA underscore users. Currently this is taking users. Let me change the default table space to users 2. And run the command. And you can see in here that infra user 1 everyone users default table space has been changed to users 2. Now checkpoint in a database. In normal on-premise databases, you need to fire the command alter system checkpoint, but in here you need to fire this command rds admin underscore util dot checkpoint to checkpoint a database. So a checkpoint occurred. Change the time zone. You need to create an option group first. From here I have already created it actually. From here you need to create the group. You need to give the name, description. You need to choose the engine properly. For our database it is Oracle Enterprise Edition and the major engine version is 12.2, and you need to create the option group. After creating the option group, you need to add the option from here. You need to click it from here. You need to give the time zone, which is already selected actually, that's why it's not showing in here, and the version. You need to provide the version in here and apply immediately. After which what you need to do is you need to go to the database and you need to modify it. And from the database options, you need to click on the option group to modify the same. So that is about changing, adding option groups and integrating it with your database to change the time zone. And how do you create a directory in your database, and how do you proceed further with checking what all files are there. In here, let me give the name as infra, the directory name infra underscore directory, and execute it. So my directory is created. Now let me check what all files are in there. Currently we do not have any files present in a directory, so it won't be showing anything, but I will just keep the command in here because you can check after we take our R1 backup. You can check the files in here. So if you provide this command, let me see whether you can see any files or not. Currently there's no file in here, and since there are no files, you cannot read the files also from here. We will check it later in the later course of time. Now, how do you generate a AWS report? First of all, you need to see what all snapshots are present. So till now, no snapshots have been created, but so we cannot check what all snapshots have been created till now. So we need to wait. I'll pause the video for some time so that some snapshots are created for this database, or we can go ahead with this in the latter course. Till then, let us see how do we enable audit in our database. Currently, our audit trail is set to none. So how do you enable it? Let us log into the database. Let us go to the parameter groups and create a parameter group. The parameter group family is this one itself. Group name infra and create the group. So the group is created. Let us edit our parameter group functions. From here, let us give this as at OS level, the audit trail as at OS level, and save changes. So the changes have been saved. Let us go to our database, modify it. From the database options, let us choose the parameter group, continue, apply immediately. This will again bounce the database, since this is a static parameter, so which will be bouncing the database, and it is currently in the state of modifying. So I will pause the video until this is modified. So currently our database is available, and right now we need to execute the command. To enable sys audit table. Let us check. Still it is none. Let us run this. So this is, let us bounce the database once more. I'll pause the video until this gets bounced. So the database has been bounced. Let me check whether the changes got affected or not. And yes, the changes have been affected. Currently, audit is enabled in the database. So to recycle the to purge the recycle bin in non-RDS, in your on-premise databases, you use purge db recycle bin. In here, we need to execute this command rds admin underscore util purge db recycle bin. So the recycle bin has been purged. Next, set in force logging. Force logging is a way to where Oracle logs all changes in the data except changes in the temporary table space and temporary segments. So let me check whether forced login is enabled or not. So currently the forced login is disabled for the database. Let me enable it. So this has been enabled. You need to note the commands. And right now the forced login has been enabled in the database. Next, supplemental login. Supplemental login ensures that LogMiner and products that use LogMiner technology have sufficient information to support chained rows and storage arrangements such as cluster tables. Supplemental login will be used while you go ahead with your DMS data migration utility tool also. So this is the command to enable supplemental login. I am not enabling it now. We will go ahead once we check our DMS. This is the command to switch online log files. And you can check from your database logs and events. What all is happening in the database from here. So this is the end of the log. Now add in online redo logs. I'm not going through each and every practically. You can add log files with this command, where add log file and the size will be of 100 MB each, and there will be 3 groups created for it. This is for dropping log file. It add log file and 3 groups created. You can do it. You can add log files with 512 MB with this command, and drop inactive logs with this group 1, that will be deleted, dropped. Now let's go let's go ahead with our armand tasks. Here you can see the following example validates the DB instance using the default parameter values for the parameters. So this is currently validating the database, and you can also check it from here, from your logs and event. See, you can watch it from here. So this is done. So this is still running. I'll just pause the video until it validates all. So this is the script executed successfully, and let us check list of data files. And this is the armand log. Finish validate, SC file OK, control file OK. So this is how you can validate it. Now the following example validates the DB instance using the specified parameters. You can use this to view the files in the bdump directory. Here we will have in all our trace files and all. You can use this command. Select star from table rdsadmin.rds file util list directory bdump order by m time. and you can see all the trace files are available in here. Along with our alert log file. And to view the contents of a file in the directory, you need to run this command. So let me run the command to check our R1 validation script. We can check, as you saw earlier, we checked it from our AWS console, but if you are not having access to your AWS console and you need to check, you need to fire this command with the R1 validate command. You need to give the name which we got earlier while we were executing the query. So this is the one which you need to copy along with, from here you need to copy actually. So after running it, you will get this, and you can check it from here. Now to validate a table space, the procedure is rman-util rds underscore rman underscore util dot validate underscore table space, and it has the following parameters: validation type, parallel, how much parallelism you need to use, the section MB, DBMS output. Likewise for your control file, it is validate control file, P validation, and rman to DBMS output are the common parameters which are used. Likewise for SP file also validate underscore SP file with the below parameters, and for data file it is validate underscore data file with the below parameters. Now how to disable blockchain tracking? How to enable or disable blockchain tracking? To determine whether blockchain tracking is enabled, first of all let us run this command and check. So the status is currently as disabled. So let me enable it first. So this is enabled, so this should change to enable right now, and this is enabled. The blockchain tracking is enabled. Right now, how do we disable it? In enable, you should replace it with disable and run the command. So it again changed to disabled. Now to cross check archive logs, this is the parameter. Cross check in archive logs, it ran with. See, we got this cross check archive log, so validation failed for this, and it cross check 22 objects. Next, how do we back up our archive logs? Our directory is infra underscore directory. See, the retention has not been set for this, because of which it failed. So let us first set the archive log retention. Let us run the below command to set the archive log retention to 24 hours. So this has been set to 24 hours, and now run the command to back up our archive logs. So currently this is backing up. We can also check it from here. As you can see, this is a command, configure control file auto backup on, backup automation is off, and it is allocating 4 channels. As we gave here the parallelism as 4. It is backing up the archive log and then it will be releasing the channel. So the archive log backup is complete. Let us check from here. So this is complete. So right now we have something in our infra directory. Let us check whether we can get those from here or not. As you can see in here, currently we have these backup pieces available in that directory, in our infra directory. These are for our archive log backups. Next, you can also backup from a date range, from an SCN range, from a sequence number, your archive logs. You can also backup your archive logs like this. I am not showing each and every steps. And to perform a full database backup, this is the command. This is for full database, and for this procedure is supported from 11 to 04 till the current version. And for incremental database backup also, see, is mentioned in here P level 1. And here we are not mentioning anything, just backup full, and the backup database incremental. So let me take the backup, full backup of my database. I'll keep the query. So currently, is my backup done so soon? Let me check. This is the backup. No, this shouldn't be the one. This is not the one. This has not run, I believe. So why is this command not running? Can you identify it while pausing the video? Just think once. Because I missed to change the directory name in here. Let me change the directory name and run it. So currently this is running, and I can see the same from my logs. What? View. So this is running right now. Backing up the database. I don't think it will take much time because we do not have anything in the database right now. I'll just pause the video until this is backed up. So as you can see from the logs, this is completed, and you can see the same from here, that these are backed up in here. See, you can see these many backup files have been created. Since the MB size has been given as 10 MB, so these many files, backup files were created because of that same. Next, for incremental backup also we can take the likewise, and this is for tablespace backup. So let us check now whether we have our snapshot IDs created or not. We have these many snap IDs created. Let us take snap IDs 8 and 9 and proceed. So this is generating the AWR report for snap IDs, snapshot interval of snapshot IDs 8 and 9. So, and this has generated, and from where do we find it? From logs and events also we can find. If you want to mention the, see from here, this is the, and you can watch. Since this is in HTML format, it would be better if you download and check, because the download options are also present. Likewise, if you want, you can generate the AWR report in your directory itself, or you can take extract snapshots with range formats like what is shown in here. Similarly, ADTM report also can be generated from here with range also can be generated. So that is all about common tasks which you perform in day-to-day basis in Oracle, and compared to what you will perform in an AWS RDS. Next, we will be seeing how we can integrate an S3 with Oracle RDS. So stay tuned and subscribe to my channel, hitting the bell icon to check further. Thanks a lot. Take care.